Welcome back to GameChanger, and today we have a high taper fade. And I'll be honest, y'all, this is one of them ones. This is my boy Roger. We've been supposed to link. We supposed to linked up on this tutorial a while ago, but I'm excited. He's getting a high taper fade. Usually he gets the front all even just to edge up curved arches, and we taper the back. But today, you know what? I said let's spice it up. We're gonna high taper him out. He has a thick grade of hair. So the first thing we're gonna do with Roger, we're gonna comb him out, look at the wave patterns, look for any cowlicks, any multi-growth patterns, and we get to it. As you see right now, I'm starting with the Walls Magic Clip. I don't know if y'all remember about 5 months ago, Walls sent me these clippers to review, and I love them, and they've been holding up great. I've learned that the Walls Magic Clip and the Walls Vapor, super interchangeable. Few subtle details that are different, but I love them. Strong run times, and if the battery dies on one, I can use the other. But yeah, so Roger, we cut him down to a 1.5. He wants to keep it dark, thick, dark. He has a very rich texture of hair, very good density. So like I said, the biggest thing is to watch out for the thin spots with this type of haircut. As you can see, I'm using the Vapors right here. Super lightweight. That's one thing I love about these clippers. They're very light, but very powerful at the same time. So I'll come around, cut them down to a 1.5 all the way around. And then it's time for the high taper. So as you can see right here, I'm using the Walls High Vis. You know what? These became my favorite trimmer. I'll be 100% honest. So I used to be a fan of a few others. What makes these different is that long T-blade. It allows me to hit the corners and around the ears perfectly, which is what I'll show you in a little bit. So the way I do tapers, I do a 2-line method. So with the Wall High Vis, I made the primary line. With the Walls Vapors right now, I'm making a secondary line. That's where the dark hair separates the light hair. So now this is the primary section. I'm fading that primary line into the light section, which is the primary section. If you notice, I'm using the corner of the blade. There's very seldom times where you have to use the full blade at one time when doing a tutorial. I take my hand, because the clipper is so light and they're very powerful, I can take a lighter stroke. What does it matter if you're taking a lighter stroke or a heavier stroke with your hand? Well, the lighter the stroke, the less hair comes off, and it allows you to control that fade. Whenever you go into a haircut and you're very heavy-handed, you will wind up taking more hair off. And you're like, damn, why can I not get rid of this line? Or why is my fade looking choppy? Well, you want to execute with a very light touch. So a lighter clipper like the Walls High Vis, like the Walls Vapor, does a great job at that. So now what I'm doing now, I'm attacking the secondary line into this secondary section. What I'm doing is debulking. So I have a 2-guard on. Whenever I debulk, I'll go against the grain with a guard either a half a size or a size bigger than the guard that I cut the desired length down with. Then I come back after debulking, taking some of that mass out. It's very similar to using thinning shears on straight hair. Now I'll debulk again that line and that space, the secondary line and the secondary space, with the guard that I cut the hair down, which in this case is the 1.5. Then I'll debulk it one more time, right? Because my motto is what? The lighter the area, the easier it is to fade. Then I'll debulk with a 1. So now what I'm doing, I'm thinning out and debulking the secondary line so much that when I come back with my Walls Magic Clip or its Vapor, it'll be so easier to make that line transition smoothly into one nice fade. So that system works great for me. It always has, and it requires patience, but it gives you a system. One thing I learned about barbers is that when you approach your haircut with no plan, just like in life, right? It's hard to execute to your desire, right? So now, see, I thinned out that space so much. Now what I do is, if you look at my offhand, Roger has like a looser skin on his skull. So I like to stretch the skin. Not only does a light area make it easy to fade, but a tight skin, tight workspace, when the skin is tight, it makes it much easier to execute that fade as well. So again, little details. When I'm fading, what am I doing? I'm using the edge or the corner of the blade. It makes it much easier to be detailed in that fade, because when you do deal with density, if I'm using that flat part of that blade, right, and each area isn't dense, I'm creating more of a gradient versus a smoother transition. So I use the corners and I attack the darker spots. See, I'm spot hitting. Okay, I'm looking right here, behind the ear. Why did I turn the clipper upside down? What I'm doing is I'm putting the blade closer to the skin. So it's another form of fading that I like to add. So you all watch, and I'll be back soon, but it's coming together beautifully. I'll be back. So then I'll come back with the wall high vis, clean up that primary space, the space that separates the skin from the hair. Little details, right? These are things that you think you won't see on a haircut. A lot of times, I think barbers focus on the details that we may see, but the ones that you don't see make the haircut pop. So that's what I'm doing. I'm adding that nice pop effect, cleaning, and I'm kind of OCD-ish as well. So I'm gonna try to find something to perfect. If I put my name on it, it has to be quality. Then I follow again with the vapor. Again, a lot of these steps really are just the detail work. That's the difference between craftsmanship and just a haircut, right? In today's market, there are so many great barbers. What separates you? Good tools, shout out Walls, and just good skills and details and effort and care. We have to compete at all times. And I just follow up my steps. A lot of it is redundancy, but it's details. Okay, I didn't know that. It's a lot of redundancy. Now, this is my favorite part. This back taper came out flawless. Top 10 back tapers of all time, and I'll prove it right now. All right, so the first thing, I'll use the Walls High Vis. Super versatile clipper. Another great thing, I'm adding my primary line with this clipper. So I start the primary line, right? I started low at the nape, on the nape of the neck. Now, rule of thumb, I never want the taper to transition around the occipital bone. That makes the neck look longer, and it also makes the fade look stretched. I like a nice, concise, tight taper. So the secondary line, I won't go up no more than an inch at the most, but on this one, about a half an inch. And I'll take my time and I'll follow the steps from the first, the side taper. Primary line, primary section. Secondary line, secondary section. Now, the back of the neck is obviously a wider workspace, and so you have more space to be detailed than the side of the skull. So what I'll do is I'll take my time, I'll work around. Um, when it comes to haircuts, right? There's going to be times where you run into issues and problems. I really didn't in this haircut, which was I was blessed to. The system worked great. Took my time. The energy was right. The sun was shining, and then the AC in the building was on. So it made for a perfect haircut. But there are times where you may not see the result that you're looking for. But remember, the result is at the end. Why am I preaching right now? Because as a barber or as a person who's cutting or crafting a haircut, you have to take your time. Now, I have a little density thing right here. Not gonna call it an issue. What I'll do is I'll take my 1.5 with the vapor. Mind you, I haven't even charged these clippers, and they're still working very, very strong. You'll notice that when you see the ASMR version of this haircut. I'll take the Walls Vapor, I'll 1.5, then I'll 2, and I'm just debulking. Look at did you see how that went from chunky and bulky to smooth and creating that transition? Take your time. Look at my hand placement on the clippers. This clipper has a really very comfortable hand grip that makes it really cool to grip and makes it comfortable for my back 4 fingers. Right there, it's right around that light, and my thumb is on it as well. So, there's nothing like having comfortable hands while you're cutting. But yeah, another thing, I'm trying to hit so many things at one time. Combs, 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 combs. Comb over brush anytime you're doing a fade. Why? Because a brush clumps the hair together. I'm not judging you all that use brushes, but transition to seam comb. The comb helps space the hair and lets the hair lay in this natural growth pattern. So that way, when you're cutting, you can execute to the desired look. All right, so y'all watch. I talked enough. I'll be back when it's time to hit this back edge up. Enjoy. That looks good. I want to leave, but I want to stay. I don't want to leave, but I got to go right. See you later. Now that we've executed a high quality fade, it's time to bring it all together with the back lining, the edge up. And like I said, I love this Walls High Vis. Beautiful motor, ergonomic design is off the charts, but that T-blade sets this clipper completely apart. Look right here, it allows me to hit around the ear. That corner is so long that it allows you to hit those harder spots. And also, less strokes makes for less irritation. When you're trying to get a sharp, crisp line in the back of the taper, you do not want to go over it so many times because you irritate the skin, which takes away from the look of the cut. And look right here, I can just hit right around the ear. So Shout out to Walls again. I absolutely love this trimmer. When you're doing the back edge, right? You want to slope it. Now, really, it's all about the shape of the client's head. You never want to make their neck look fat or wide. So you always want to add a slight deviation from the straight line. So you want to slant it a little bit. But it depends on how that client's hair grow. If they have a wider edge up, follow the natural line. And like I said, slight deviation just to give that appearance in the back of a more symmetrical head. So the reason why I left this side unfaded, I wanted to show the versatility of the clippers. So I did the other side with the Walls Vapor. Now I'm coming back with the Magic Clip just to show that both of these clippers, they're interchangeable. Now, the Vapors are slightly lighter, but they have strong motors. Now, this Walls Magic Clip gives a very crisp, clean cut, silent motor, but allows me to execute at a high level. And little details, right? So right where my thumb is, I love how this clipper has a thumb imprint, like right there. That's dope to me, right? Comfort for a barber is everything, and it literally has a place for you to place your thumb. Small details matter. So y'all enjoy. I'll be back at the very end for the finish up. Stay tuned. Look at this. Look at this back taper. Beautiful. A combination of work, high quality tools, and a vision. That is a beautiful taper to me. I just don't, something about when a haircut comes together, I love it. So now it's time for the front edge up. I forgot about the edge up in the front. Oh, that looks good. I like that. What y'all think? 1 to 10? 1 to 10, let's figure it out in the comments. So now let's focus on the edge up. This is where the high vis shines as well. Any barber will tell you the hardest part of the edge up is the corner. It's something about where the hair from the vertical side meets the hair on the front of the forehead. That corner is just hard to tap. But because of how long the T-blade is, it allows you to get in the corner without pushing the edge up back. So shout out again. Like, I absolutely love it. Then I'm always going to use my razor. Follow up with the razor for definition and detail. And we execute. So y'all stick around, about to get to the beard. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Like, share, subscribe. If you have any questions, let me know. Again, I want to shout out to Walls. This tutorial was all powered by Wall Tools. So that shows you something right there. You know, I just used 3 clippers. The haircut came out great. Y'all let me know in the comments any questions. I would have finished the beard part, but I lost the clip. So I'm going to just taper it out with the Walls Magic Clip. And I'll see y'all soon. Stick around for his reaction. Take care.
Yeah, nice.
Good.
Great.
Ready?
Yeah.
My guy.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate you, Roger.
Yes, sir. That was right again, man.
You know I got you, Roger.
Man.